Stop. I can't take it anymore.
Oh, I do the live ones too. Yes, I know. I saw your act in the theater. You're really quite good.
Quite a certain harmful habit.
Stop it now, I'm leaving.
I don't think he felt
Hello and welcome back. We are breaking up with RBS. This is episode number 54, and JD's trying to make me laugh before we get going.
No, just before we even get started, communication already way off. Sitting 2 feet away from each other. What? Huh? I am JDK Whittakin. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Breaking Up with RBS. If you're listening live, thank you so much. If you're listening as a podcast, thank you for subscribing, leaving us a review. Really appreciate it. And be sure to check us out at our YouTube channel, Breaking Up with RBS, where you can sort of see the dynamic here in the studio. Mm-hmm. And then also at our Facebook group, Breaking Up with RBS, where you can join that, get content in between. And, of course, there's also Tawny's 6-week self-mastery course that you can take. Mm-hmm. So much good stuff out there to help people debunk their junk, isn't there?
Well, just trying to lighten the load, right? We've all got a lot that we're dealing with, and wherever we can kind of help folks to lighten, I think could be helpful.
Certainly, which is why we do what we do. Yeah. So, and there never seems to be a bigger or a lesser season for BS stories, does there?
No, it's just everywhere. Like, is it air molecules?
Whoa.
Right? I don't know. Like, just, we're just kind of walking around. They're just, they're just a part of life.
They're part of life. Yes.
Yeah.
They are a part of everything.
Yeah. So
yes.
we don't need to like extinguish them because they're not going to go away. Mm-hmm. We just want to be aware of when they're there and what they are. And
right.
Those kinds of things. So we could maybe do something a little bit different.
Yeah. Right. And yeah, because it's developing the practice of recognizing them, not feeding them, and then they sort of dissipate.
Yeah. Well, or even if you choose to feed them, it's your choice, and you're doing it with awareness.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do we really want to feed the BS stories, though, from awareness, or do we not want to?
Well, I'm not saying that there's a better or worse way to go. I just want to make sure that, it's like sometimes we're at a place where it's really difficult not to feed them for whatever reason.
Sure.
And if we are just really aware that that's what we're choosing to do right then and we have another choice, then that's more helpful than just being sort of thrown about by the stories and not really aware and believing them.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that makes the big difference between not only the amount of time you might spend on it, but the amount of stress and all the difficulty, perhaps.
Well, and your belief system.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you believe them, and you don't see that they're actually not, you don't need to, you can have a choice not to, then how do you get out from under them?
Right. Yeah. Might just think that it's not even something you can do.
Right. Like you don't even ask your question about it, or yourself a question about it. You just kind of take it for granted that this is the way life is and the way I'm supposed to believe and the way I'm supposed to do things and how I'm supposed to see myself. And then blam, and then I'm living with that map or that, guide.
And the story that it's inevitable.
Yeah.
That you must follow that.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. All right. Well, so if there's no season bigger than or less than on this, what's coming up right now? What have you been noticing lately?
I want to talk about birthdays today.
Oh, okay.
I've got a lot of birthdays it feels like birthday season in my family, in my real, nuclear family. I guess other parts of my family, we've got birthdays all over the place, but maybe it's because I'm so much more aware because my birthday is in this season also.
Yeah, just passed.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, by the way.
And your birthday is coming up, right? Sort of in the birthday season here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. So what about, there's a lot of stories. I just was about to ask, what about birthdays? And I went, there's what not about birthdays?
We hold a lot of stories about birthdays.
We do. So what were you wanting to talk about with that?
Oh, just, I thought we could just kind of explore, like, I didn't know if from a historian hat, not to throw you under the bus right now, but I didn't know if you knew anything about sort of how birthdays came about. You don't need to know that, but sort of this special day. And then I was thinking, okay, the actual day of my birth was a Monday. Mm-hmm. And so how come I just didn't learn to celebrate Mondays?
Your life would have been a lot easier if you learned how to celebrate
I-
Mondays. You
yeah.
would have been contrary to everybody else in the workforce.
Right. And I would just be, well, I couldn't probably celebrate with the big bash on Mondays always, but
Right.
I could, have a little bit of like, oh, here's my day of the week. Let's get some extra dessert or something.
Well,
I don't know.
You could, right?
I still could. I'm
You
thinking
still
about it.
could.
I'm actually thinking about
To
it.
say we're talking about choice.
I know.
You
Yeah,
could
yeah.
choose this
No, I'm really kicking this idea
on a
around.
Monday. I think I was born on a Thursday.
Okay.
I think. To answer your question, birthdays have been marked in some way, by every culture on the planet at various points. As far as a specific origin, I don't know, but certainly for any society that kept a larger calendar, that could be really important for, like the ancient Egyptians did, because it was important to keep track of how old you were from, where the sun was in the sky and that type of thing. And so kind of keeping track of that. But as far as practices go, like, I don't know, it'd be interesting. I don't know who came up with the idea of let's put a cake and put some flaming wax candles on the top of it, blow it out, wish. I mean, all those are culture specific, time specific. I don't know the answers to that, but we certainly do put a lot of importance on them. We're really aware when they're coming up, and sometimes there can be pressure to, quote unquote, do something for it, either internal or maybe from other people.
Absolutely. And milestones too,
Yes.
right? There's certain sorts of traditions in different cultures around hitting a particular milestone and what that means
Yep.
in your development.
Right. 40 years
human.
old is you have the 40th birthday party, the over the hill.
Yes, that's where you get all of the, old people
Yeah.
products that you might need.
Black
Yeah.
balloons.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more like 50 now, but yes,
50's the
40,
new
50.
40?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to keep up, but.
See, I turn 50 next year, and I'm
Oh.
not feeling anything black, quote unquote, bad about it. I'm actually excited about it. I mean, I think that's the historian in me too, is like 50 years is a big round number. Like 50 years feels big.
So a bigger significance. for
Yeah,
you.
and a part of me is amazed I made it this long. So that sounds really
It's
cynical.
a lot of years.
It's a lot of years.
Yeah.
It's a lot of years, but I'm actually excited about it. Which, although, to get to your point about stories, the fact that I was excited about it surprised me, which suggests an awareness of
A story about it.
the story about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's been there, done that for me. So, I'm still here.
We won't get into that. That's another story too, right? You don't talk about your age,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Women in
some of it,
particular,
yeah,
right? Women in
yeah,
particular, the story is they don't talk about their age, and you're not supposed to ask about it either.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I don't know about that one. I kind of actually like to tell people how old I am at this point now.
Sure.
I don't, I think that's the thing. I think most of us, once we get, sort of over that major hill, it's like, who cares at this point? Who cares?
Sure.
Who cares? Up until the time, though, when we're in our 30s, we're very concerned about this number.
Yeah, it's true. That's true, because the assignment is if I'm not sure if it's about the specific number or about the idea that certain things need to have happened in
Yep.
time before that number
Mhm.
to have achieved success or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look, and the people I know in their 30s are really focused on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I just don't care.
Right. Well, you get older and you care less, right? Or something like that. I
Or
don't know.
something. I don't know if that's true. I think some people do care less. I know I care less, but mainly I think some of that is because I'm really driven to continue to be as healthy as I can be. I have this goal for 50 that I would love to be able to say that by that point, as much as it depends on me, I'm in the best shape mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally that I've ever been. There's something about that it's like a fun goal to shoot for. At the same time, I'm aware that I could be setting myself up for a story there, because it doesn't need to be that by 50. Why can't I be that way right now?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I'm pretty close.
Why wait?
Right? Why wait? Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why it is. Maybe, but again, that can be a story too. That the older you get, the less you care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because I know people in their 70s and 80s who are really aware of their mortality.
Well, I guess after I said less care, I don't want to change it to less worry. I wonder if there's a configuration
Okay.
of what might be worried about and what might be cared about in as we, go through different stages of our life, right?
Mm.
So your point about if I'm 30 or in my 30s, what should I have accomplished already is a huge story.
Oh,
Right. And I think once we're past that, into the 50s, we can look back and things look different
hmm
to where maybe we're not worried so much about accomplishments, although maybe we are too, because there's still a lot of life to live from here. The healthier, the more longevity we have because of a lot of different reasons,
yeah.
then we have a longer span to look at,
hmm
right?
Sure.
So I wonder if there's just starts to be a reconfiguration of what we're worrying about or spending a lot of energy around or trying to make happen or understanding what we can, control at this point in our lives and what we can't, those kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, I would think certainly any of that kind of reconfiguration could be possible. Right? We could choose to go that route, or we could choose not to. Or you could be stuck like we were talking about right at the top, in not even aware that these are stories going on and feeling that and that midlife crisis, as they say, which everyone expects to have happen, which I'm not so sure about that. Right? I don't know. I think so. Maybe.
Yeah, we've got a lot of names for things
We do.
that really are about just, moving through different developmental phases of being a human being. And certainly our experiences, if we take two 35-year-olds and one, kind of had a family experience where maybe they raised kids and another 35-year-old didn't. Like their realities of life and the way they see themselves and view are going to be really different.
Oh, yeah.
Drastically different.
Drastically
and
different.
even what they might want or what stories they would carry about themselves and other people, and not one is going to be better or than the other. It's just going to be drastically different. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true. Well, and I know that for me, I've, a lot of friends in my age bracket. Many of them have kids. I do not. There are a lot of common, overlaps, but then there's some big significant differences.
Sure.
And reminds me of the conversation we've had before and on this show, but also that you and I had early on when we were working together, where you said to me, just almost as an aside, well, is there really anything such a thing as a complete human experience? And there's not, right? Not every human being can do everything, right? Human beings have been to the moon. Most of us aren't going to go.
Right.
Most of us aren't going to go. So, that's a humorous example, but the choice that we have along the way for various things, right? And then how we respond to the things that maybe we don't have a choice over seems to matter a lot in that difference. And I keep thinking about, we talk about choice all the time, and we have this awareness that we're getting older. We have this awareness that time is finite, that we don't have all the time in the world. And yet we can end up in very different places from one another, even with the same age group or
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I've met people from older age groups who don't seem to worry about a thing. They're in their 80s, like, oh, I'm good. And then other people that older is like they're really concerned that they haven't either done enough, said enough, need more to do before they're done.
Yeah. I like to think of humans as plants.
All right.
Right? So if you look at all the different plants or flowers or shrubs.
We talked about weeds a couple weeks ago.
Or weeds or trees, right? There's so many different kinds, right? And they grow at different rates. And they live differently in different conditions. They thrive differently in different conditions, right? So this idea that we all have this road that we're all supposed to be on for whatever reason, right? Like you could take anything, right? Like the 30-year-olds that we're supposed to have all of the things
Right.
by the time. Maybe that's just not what we need to be concerning ourselves with. Maybe like you can be a flowering shrub, and I can be a flowering tree,
Mhm.
or I could be a cactus,
Okay.
because I can sometimes get a little like prickly. Yeah.
But you're sweet on the inside.
Right. Yes. So I'll think about an aloe vera or something, but that's not, it's kind of a cactus, but not really a cactus succulent. But anyway,
Sure.
right. So we
That
can
makes sense.
all see ourselves as like, and then we're all needed too, right? Because if we only had one plant,
Oh, that's a good point.
or one kind of tree,
Yeah.
that would be super boring to look at,
Yeah.
right? And some places they couldn't live,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
depending on weather conditions.
I like that analogy. That's better than choosing the animal kingdom analogy, because then there's like a food chain in,
Yeah.
in that. Whereas
Mhm.
I like the multiple plant. That's a really good analogy.
Thank you.
I like that. I was going to ask you, what plant would you choose? And you seem to go with cactus. Do you really want to stick with that one? Do you like that one?
You know what? I haven't really given this much thought. So I think if I'm going to have to choose one, I'm probably going to want to give it a little bit more thought. But
Okay.
for whatever reason, cactus came up right this second.
Mhm.
You know what? I was born in Arizona. I love the desert.
There you go.
So maybe,
Well, that's okay, because the very first one that came to mind for me was the palm tree. And I grew up in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And then California. And there's
Yeah.
palm trees everywhere.
Mhm.
I like those because they're deeply rooted and they can bend.
yes. Oh,
They're-
so you've thought of this before.
They're really
Okay.
hard to, not really. That just kind of, honestly, it just came to me. This is how I think. This is
Oh,
like
okay.
this kind of
Okay.
stuff.
I just think prickly, but it's okay.
I just love how flexible they are, but they're really strong.
Yes, that's true.
They're really strong. They can take a lot, and then of course below ground too with palm trees. They're
Yeah.
interconnected. Their root systems love to interconnect,
Yes, that's nice.
so they mutually support one another.
Oh, that's such a nice story.
It
I
is.
love that. I
It
love
is.
That.
It's better than a flowering shrub, by the way.
Okay, so I apologize for that. I just was thinking about my yard, and
That's true.
But now I'm thinking about the cactus thing, and what does that say about me that I'm prickly and I don't need water, and I can live by myself? So
We're getting
anyways.
we're getting close to making up stories about this this analogy. Anyway, but I do like that because if we extend that out and we say that that's what we're like, we just have to be the tree that we are, or the plant that we are.
Yeah,
And somebody being a different one doesn't matter.
yeah.
Doesn't
We're
matter.
helping each other stay alive with oxygen,
Right.
right? We're helping each other,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And by like mutually sort of being in spaces together,
Mhm.
and the root system, and the, you know what I mean? Like we are helping each other just by existing.
That's right. I like that a lot. And I'm just sort of thinking in terms of conversations I've had. It's interesting that you chose birthdays to talk about, because I've been hearing a lot about them lately, and not just because mine's coming and people are asking, what are you doing, but themselves. And because of that, you end up getting, you got to get a sense of a lot of what people really care about.
Mhm.
I have one good friend I was talking to the other day who was telling me that when her birthday comes along, she just wants to be left alone for the whole day.
Mhm. Yeah.
She wants to go where she wants to go, think about what she wants to think about, all those kinds of things. And I get that. I get that. And then I have another friend who every year he has a big pool party. And we all know that we're going to be going to that pool party, and he loves that. And he loves being around, having other people around and that type of thing. And I find myself, I'm not sure I have a thing I like to do. I think I kind of go year to year. I can't remember what I did last year for my birthday. This year, I think I'm going to go to a baseball game or two. I'll spend some time with my folks, and I'm going to do a couple of just local road trips to places I haven't been to before that I like to go to.
Yeah.
But everybody's different
Mhm.
that way, and I like that plant analogy, because then there's no, is that weird? Like people always ask, I'm going to do this for my birthday. Is that weird that I want to do that? Or is that implying, of course, in the statement that there's a right way versus wrong way?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. I found myself when my kids were little, I had to do something for my birthday that they also would enjoy.
Oh, sure. I didn't
Right?
think about that.
Yeah. So taking that into consideration, not that, it wasn't fun, because it really was fun, but I might have made a different choice if at different years along the way, but because they wanted to celebrate with. So there's that other part of people in our lives who want to be included, and how do we balance that too? And I think that's it. That's it. A plant choice too, right? Like each plant might want something different around that also, and be okay with something different, as opposed to, well, it is their birthday, so they need to choose. I don't know. Maybe they want someone else to choose for them, and maybe that's okay. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, because then you'd have to choose things like what kind of cake.
Yes.
Like, because you want the kids to like the cake.
Yes.
Or the kid's old enough to say, hey, you choose the cake.
Yes.
This is what mom or dad likes.
And
you choose.
Yes. And so here we are with family conversations about a single person's birthday that can get pretty stressful after a while. What kind of cake are we going to have? And then if we extend it to where are we going to go eat, or what are we going to do? Right. Then there's even more chaos that could take place if we're not careful.
That's true. That's true. I as I think about, and I don't know if everybody does this. I used to say that, being a historian, I was always looking back, right? And I've struggled in the past with birthdays, holidays that I almost automatically, in fact, for a long time, was automatically reviewed the last year since the last time I was in that position, celebrating that day, and usually found myself wanting in terms of where I was in life or what I accomplished or that type of thing. I used to be one of those people that just saw that as that's just how I am. That's just what I do. It felt like a glass half empty all the time, and the power of those stories can really be debilitating. But that's why we're talking about being aware that it doesn't have to be that way is by itself really empowering. And to me, it's at the point now where it doesn't happen to me much anymore, because the expectations of the story that I'm supposed to be, or I should be a certain type of plant. I'm surrounded by cacti, but I'm a palm tree. What's wrong with me? I should be a cacti.
Yeah.
That doesn't hold a lot of water for me anymore.
Yeah.
Water, cactus. Never mind.
Water? What are you talking
What are you
about?
talking
There's no
about?
water. But yeah, that's the other thing too, is sort of like, okay, so given the people around us, and now it's our birthday, and what if we want the people to participate in our birthday in a particular way, and they don't participate in our birthday in a particular way, and then that opens us up to disappointment and frustration and more of the stories about not being worthy and blah, 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 right? So if there is a need for a particular way of having a birthday, probably expressing it very clearly and would be important.
Yeah, and being aware that, to take your garden analogy or plant analogy, your own garden is going to look a little different than everybody else's. So you might have certain things to consider that are different from someone else's.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, one of the things I'd like to do a better job in the future of is if I decide I want to do things for my birthday, to plan things a little further in advance so other people could be a part of it. I tend to not do that. And so I'm kind of like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Wanna go out for dinner? Something like that. I'd like to get a little better at that, just to include people a little bit more. But I also like the flexibility of being able to, wake up on my birthday and go, what do I want to do today? It's my day.
Yeah.
Something about that. I'm taking the whole week off, though.
Nice.
For my birthday this year. I haven't done that before.
That's nice.
I know.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
You can.
I can have the time. And it works out well because of the way that it works out with the week. I can take only a few days of PTO, and then I get 2 weekends on either end.
So you feel like you've won the lottery.
I do. Getting 10 days for the price of 3.
That's not a bad deal.
It's a great deal. It's a great deal. So, and so I'm looking forward to, to a lot of things, and the people that I'm connected with know, and, that's great. But opportunity to connect with myself, do things for me and, not so much recommit to things, but I know the things I like to do, and I know the things I would like to be doing, or, things that I haven't done in a while that I'd like to do again. It's going to be a fun way to go about it.
Yeah. So, question for you. If you were born on Thursdays or on Thursday, could you not do this on Thursdays?
I could. Oh, like do one on a Thursday. What are you
Like
talking
the
about?
things for yourself on Thursdays.
Oh, I could. Thursday's me day.
Well, I don't know. I
Thursday's
mean, like,
JD day.
why do you have to wait till once a year?
Yeah.
Why do we do this?
Oh man, you had to throw that question out right at the end.
I just was curious because I'm gonna really be starting to make my Mondays.
I like this.
I know, I do too.
Let's play around with this
Mhm.
idea and let's see what happens here because this could be interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll get back to you on that, everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of Breaking Up with Our BS. Whenever your birthday's coming, maybe you've had a chance to rethink a little bit about it.
And happy birthday!
And happy birthday! And what kind of plant are you? There's big takeaways from today.
Cactuses are really cool, or cacti, really cool.
So are palm trees.
Okay, yep, they are.
Pine trees. Well, until next time, I'm JDK Winnigan.
And I'm Tawny Santabria.
See ya. Happy birthday.
How you all feel tonight?
Stop. I can't take it anymore.
Oh, I do the live ones too. Yes, I know. I saw your act in the theater. You're really quite good.
Quite a certain harmful habit.
Stop it now, I'm leaving.